This is Grunt Squad, brought to you in the studio of Wiley Productions, with Sam Mann and Nate Westlake, bringing you all the spreads, picks, and player props.
Welcome in to the Grunt Squad.
Grunt Squad Thanksgiving special.
Yes, it is turkey time.
Happy Thanksgiving, people.
Yes, week 11, episode number 10. That's two hands full, if I'm doing my numbers right.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
They're in the air. What is... Okay. Next, our music video coming out, brought to you by... hey, this episode, though, all jokes aside, Wicked Pecker Off-Road, thank you so much.
Yes.
We love you. Thanks for the support. So, wow, what a week of NFL.
Let's go.
I love it. There was some chaos. There were some things that happened that surprised us, some things that didn't surprise us. And let's kick it off with the marquee matchup this week. Eagles-Chiefs. Holy cow, what a game. Tell us more, Blake.
Yes. Man, last night, I was frustrated because of the whole Taylor Swift thing. Like, she was supposed to come, and then she didn't come.
There were no billboards.
And, yeah, no billboards. Like, after the whole thing.
There were no people walking up, putting up the billboards or electronic ones.
I guess you could technically say that DeAndre Swift outshined Taylor Swift because her...
Don't know which button to press. I forgot which one to press.
Just press one. That's not it. Nope, none of them are it. Anyway.
That's great.
Yeah, so... anyway, the game itself, phenomenal game. Defensive battle. I mean, two of the toughest defenses in the NFL going at it last night, and it showed. Both defensive fronts were very, very good. The Chiefs, man, they got after Jalen Hurts early on. They sacked him 5 times last night. That's a lot for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts not quite the same right now. You can tell that knee, he just doesn't look right. Even when he's just like jogging out on the field, you can see like that's not.
You saw it after that first run when he took off and like didn't slide.
Yeah,
Kinda led with it. He's like,
yeah, and he's really protecting himself. He's been really good at protecting himself as a runner in general through his career. I think he's very, very picky in his spots where he's got to plow forward. Plus, whenever they do the brotherly shove or whatever you want to call it, he's taken some beatings in there because he's in the middle of the pile, people pushing him, fall on top. So he's selective, but he's not right. Despite all that. And despite the Eagles' offense looking like trash,
hot garbage.
We
both
thought that the Chiefs were going to run away with it in the second half, and they really had opportunities to. I just don't know what wishbone that the Eagles have, like what lucky charm that they have, but dude, they just find ways to win games down the stretch. Like, they had no business being in the game. Like, I'm pretty sure going into the fourth quarter, Jalen Hurts had like 70 yards passing.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't good.
I think this was more of the Chiefs losing than it was the Eagles winning. And I think ultimately, outside of, Swift was being able to get some things done. And was fairly consistent throughout the game. Outside of that, they weren't able to do anything offensively. And it was anemic the first half. And we said, we could see a realm in which Kansas City goes and wins this thing by a couple of touchdowns. Now, that being said, Kansas City had every opportunity to close this thing out. They had every opportunity. When you have this many drops on a team,
it's tough.
Superman can only do so much.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, your guys have to execute and catch the freaking ball.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
No.
Watson had some key drops. Kelsey had the
Fumble.
the most untimely fumble that you could have in the red zone.
Changed the whole landscape of the game. They were going in to go up 2 scores late in the second half. No, it was early in the fourth quarter that they were going in, and he made that fumble. Eagles, turn around, get stops. Mahomes had a pick in the red zone too. Threw a pick in the red zone. Just like everything went wrong for the Chiefs, and then down the last 2 drives for the Eagles, everything went right.
But you have to tip the cap, because when push came to shove, the Eagles did what they needed to do, and they found a way. They found a way. It was ugly,
right?
And but here we are, and so the Eagles still the best team in the league. Not even playing their A+ game.
Right.
Not even playing their A game. This was like. Defensively, it was an A game. Offensively, we're talking C-ish. I mean, and we know what they're capable of doing when everything's clicking, and when Hurts is healthy, when Hurts is able to do all the things that he can do, when all the weapons are. Goddard not being in the game, I think, plays a huge part in how this offense operates.
Well, because he's a good blocking tight end too. I think C offensively is very generous. They made big plays down the stretch, but they were not moving the ball. I mean, how they got into scoring situations were long plays, like the deep pass down the sideline to Devontae Smith. The DeAndre Swift had a few chunk passing plays,
but that were short towards
Yep, and he took off with
schemed
it.
And
yes,
exactly.
The Chiefs didn't have much of an answer for DeAndre Swift in general. I mean, he had 76 rushing yards. Don't know exactly how many receiving yards he had, but we know from watching the game he had several, big chunk receiving plays there that made a difference in the game. Got him out of negative territory into plus territory.
How does A.J. Brown only have 1 catch?
Not many targets. He was frustrated.
They shut him down.
They did. The Chiefs had a really good game plan against the Eagles' offense, which, if they were to play this game again, in like with all things balanced, all things equal, all things even, regular weather, not bad weather, I think the Chiefs win this game. The way that this game was played. Now, when they play again, when they play again, that would be in the Super Bowl, by the way. The Eagles are going to come out with a different game plan offensively than what they had, because it didn't work. They just had a couple of busted coverage plays where Devontae Smith got behind the defense and DeAndre Swift broke a couple plays. That it's not sustainable, and it's not a recipe for success if they play again. I think that they got to get A.J. Brown involved more somehow. And they'll have Goddard back the next time. That's another target for them. So
should be back in a couple of weeks, hopefully. So
yeah, he has to finish his IR stint. Still got a tough schedule ahead, but now I don't see how you bet against the Eagles. I just don't see how you do it after that. Like after seeing that,
they got outplayed in every facet, all three phases,
and they'd still come out with a win. You can't bet against the Eagles. Let's talk about another game that it was interesting. A lot of stuff happened in this game that we can unpack. The Bengals and the Ravens. That was the Thursday night game. Man, tell us about your boy Joe Cool.
Disappointing, obviously, at the the end result of that, out for the year, and all hope, all chances of making the playoffs are essentially gone. I don't think anybody, including Browning himself, gives them a shot to make a run with as tough as this division is.
Well, unless they bring somebody in.
And that's, what options are out there, at this point? It's going to be tough. I think ultimately, though, the Ravens really showed out. Lamar played great, super efficient. 16 for 26, 264, 2 touchdowns, 54 yards rushing. And Gus Bus continuing his streak, still with only 38% of snaps.
Yeah, but he's their goal line carry guy for sure.
He is. 12 for 62, 2 touchdowns. And the last 4 weeks, you're looking at like a top 7, top 8 running back in fantasy. I mean, this guy's absolutely crushing it. OBJ went off. 4 for 116. Zay Flowers has seemed like he's taken a step back and has started to kind of look like the rookie that he is.
Right.
Which is unfortunate because usually you see the growth kind of the second half of the season, and he's kind of done it in reverse, which stinks if you're like me and you've got Zay Flowers. You had so much hope for him, so hopefully he gets more involved. In terms of the Bengals, Mixon has looked good, and that's something that you can take with you from this game is that he is on the uptick. He has looked like the old Mixon, and he continues to flourish despite what happened.
No.
It just stinks that you had so much hope for the Bengals to make a resurgence and make this playoff run, and the fact that all hope is lost is just unfortunate.
Their schedule is tough, but I think that with all of their weapons, you can give somebody a call and see if they're interested in coming out.
Who you gonna call?
I mean, listen, I know that it's very, very improbable. I would at least give Brady a call and just
come on, dude.
and just put it on the table for him. Give him a call and just say, "Hey, look, I know that you've turned some stuff down, but this is the best situation that you've been offered since you've retired."
He's in Maui somewhere on a beach.
Cool. And he could probably step in right now and play and succeed in this Bengals offense. I think that if you tell him, look, you got a good offensive line, they're going to protect you. You got all of these weapons. You have more weapons than you had in Tampa Bay. Are you interested at all? If not, I know it's a shot in the dark, but I would at least make the phone call. You don't just not. What's the worst thing you can say? No? Well, you already don't have him. So what's the worst that could happen? At least make the phone call. That's what I think. But you still got players like, I know Joe Flacco is working out for the Browns. Give him a call. Say, hey, I know you're working out for the Browns, but maybe do a workout for us. Matt Ryan is still available technically. Don't know how well that would go. Carson Wentz just got signed by the Rams a couple weeks ago. That would have been interesting, I think. Those are just a couple names that you can think about. I don't know if you can work out one of those like special deals to get a trade after the trade. I know that there's like sometimes you can make special trades after the trade deadline. I don't know the details of it, but maybe try to get Jameis Winston in there, give him a shot. Just some names.
It's just unfortunate, that we're in this spot. We're having to have this conversation, but this has been the issue with Joe. It's honestly, I mean, he hasn't had one season where he's been fully healthy.
Yeah,
from start to finish, and he
was just getting healthy. Like he was just starting to make his peak.
It's true. So hopefully they're able to get some things together, but we'll see. Yet to be seen. Another one that was super interesting was kind of a dogfight was the Steelers-Browns game. Talk about the defensive battle and some things that you saw in this one.
Yeah, the Browns are elite defensively. It's just, we talk about it every week. We don't need to go much into detail. We know what the Browns are. And in the same breath, we know what the Browns are offensively too. Not a whole lot there. A little more explosive than the Steelers. Listen, Kenny Pickett is terrible. The fact that he was even considered in any conversation with some of these other quarterbacks that, he was at one point considered in the same conversation at least with Justin Herbert, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's just wild. So
he shouldn't even be starting, much less.
No. I don't know what you do if you're Pittsburgh because you're 6-4 and you come up with these random wins, but they're good defensively, not great defensively. They're good, but that's not going to be able to carry them far enough down the stretch They're going to have to play the Ravens again. They're going to have to play, I'm pretty sure that they play the Bengals this coming week. That's a tough game. I mean, I still think the Bengals, even if they had Browning starting, they could win that game against the Steelers because they can't do anything offensively. You don't get Najee Harris involved. And look, we know that Najee hasn't been the same Najee Harris that he's been in, the first year or two. But I think that he still has enough talent to make some plays in open space and to make some things happen.
Well, that's been Jaylen Warren. That's been the guy that's had all the juice and that's gotten the opportunities too. 9 for 129 and a touchdown. And I mean, he's got the speed. And I think if you give it to guys like that in space, like you're talking about, give it to Pickens. Hopefully when Freiermuth comes back too. There's enough there, and they have enough defensively.
They still have Deontay Johnson. I mean,
yeah.
And Deontay Johnson is in his prime right now. And when he has gotten the ball, he's done some great things with it. They just don't have someone to get those guys the ball. Like, it's just, you cannot win in this league without a good starting quarterback. You can't. It's not possible. You're not going to win a Super Bowl. Nonetheless, you're not going to create much of a playoff team without a good quarterback. You're not going to make any deep runs. Look at the people in the teams in the past. They all have good to great, if not elite quarterbacks. It's very few and far between where you see a team that has a mediocre or subpar quarterback winning playoff games for you.
But don't you think this is a team that literally is a quarterback away from being part of that elite group? Because I think they have enough going on defensively. They have enough weapons offensively that if they have a guy that can come in and make things happen, they can make a playoff push.
I think that we really don't know what they have offensively because we can't see it. Like, we know that they have pieces that are talented pieces, but we haven't really gotten to see them at their fullest potential. So we don't know what it looks like yet. So sure, you can say the potential's there if they have a good quarterback, but until those plays are actually made, you're never going to really know. I wouldn't be able to definitively say they're just a quarterback away from making a really strong playoff push. I think
to me, I feel like I can say that. I feel like I've seen enough to where these guys can create enough space, good route runners, and can separate themselves from the above-average team that's out there that's, again, I feel if they have some consistency at the quarterback position, they're there. So, but we'll see,
Yeah, agree to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, Tomlin is, one of the best coaches in the league and is still, making things happen with somebody that, like we said, shouldn't even be starting in the NFL. But let's look at some upcoming games for this upcoming week. Rams at the Cardinals. We're looking at a 44.5 point over-under. What do you see in this game, Blake?
Well, you're going to get to see Kyler Murray, who has started, he's played the last 2 games and he's starting to come on. Against a Rams defense that is not as good as what they've been in recent history, but they're still good up front. You still got Aaron Donald. Now, can they contain Kyler Murray? That's number one. Because believe it or not, the Rams are right there in their division race. The Niners are the top dogs right now. They're 7-3, and then you have the Seahawks are 6-4, and then the Rams are 4-6. Now, they would need to string together some wins here. Not impossible. It's going to be harder without Cooper Kupp. We don't know how long he's going to be out. The last time that we were told that he was day-to-day on an injury, he went on the IR. So, which I can't stand that. Like, if you're day-to-day, then you're, to me, you're not eligible for the IR. Like, I know that you technically are, but, if I'm going to tell you that my guy is day-to-day, and then I put him on the IR, that's kind of like garbage.
That's the definition of a slow roll.
It really is. Why don't you say, come out and say something like, we're not sure where he's going to be. It's it's possible that he goes to the IR, like something like
I
that.
think the reason why, I mean, and it's the same ankle, which it's not great, but they're saying it's not a high ankle sprain, which is good.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's the same one, same injury, it's disheartening, But we know what Puka can do without Cooper being there. So, I mean, I think they can come out with a W in this game for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, and they're favored, but I just wish that there were, because I feel like there was hope going into the season for the Rams until Cooper Kupp got hurt. Then when he came back, we saw him doing some great things again, and we're like, oh, okay, he's the same, and now he's hurt again. So, like, I think that it's very possible that the Cardinals come out on top on this one. It really is possible, obviously, but if I had to pick the Rams coming off of a big win against Seattle, they played well. So let's see what happens. If I had to choose, it would be the Rams to win this game. Let's talk about the next game, the Saints and the Packers, I believe. Falcons, sorry. I couldn't read the...
No, you're good. You're good.
The Saints and the Falcons, that's right. Yeah, big division game. Some would say must win in some circumstances. What say you? Who must win this game?
I mean, this is a must win for Atlanta. And I feel that Arthur Smith is on the hot seat. I think, and that he was on the hot seat coming into the season, but I'm saying you've had so many opportunities to close games out, and this is a must win for him. To answer your question, I don't think they do it either. I think the Saints come out with the W in this one.
Bias.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I think they have more talent, they have more momentum, and I'm a believer in. I'm a believer in Kamara. I'm a believer in Olave. And I think, when you can get those guys the ball in space, Michael Thomas, he can still get things done. So we will see. And I think,
isn't he still hurt?
Michael Thomas?
I'm pretty sure he's still hurt. But even if he comes back, I think I think more rides on what the Falcons do than what the Saints do. Who's going to start at quarterback for the Saints this game? I know who you want to start, but
we all know who I want to start.
I think that he should. I mean, at this point, you can kind of argue the other side, say like, okay, well, we're number one in the division. Why are we going to make a change right now? Well, because Carr's hurt. He hasn't been playing well. Jameis came in and did a good enough job.
And we've seen Carr play hurt, and it's not a good thing to watch.
It's bad.
He's bad to watch anyway, but I'm just saying.
Come on.
He is, man,
No,
and I'm a
he's not.
Saints fan. Yes, he is. He's terrible to watch on TV.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
What's bad to watch about him?
The fact that he just dumps the ball off these 2 and 3 yard passes every single time. Every time. Will not stretch the ball downfield. Will not give it to your playmakers. I'm saying I want to gouge my eyes out when I watch this guy.
Come on, man. Whenever he tries to throw the ball downfield to his guys give up on routes and don't run the routes because they're lazy. Chris Olave is one of the laziest receivers in the whole entire league.
I mean, it's hard to disagree with you there. We've talked about this on the side before.
And if dunking it down to Kamara works, why would you go away from it? Are you just saying that it's not entertaining to watch?
Correct.
Or are you saying that it's hard because he's not good? Because he is good.
Define good.
I mean, he's definitely in the top half of the league statistically.
I'm saying from a viewership perspective.
So from an entertainment perspective, that's it.
Correct.
That's the only thing that you're saying.
And I'm saying I'm saying Jameis gives the Saints a better chance to win than Derek does.
So no way. Okay, see, you're saying two different things. You're saying he's not entertaining, but
he's not.
Okay, fine, but you're also saying that he's bad.
Also true. I don't think he's good.
Okay, well that's just statistically inaccurate.
What my eyes see is that he's not very good.
They've won 5 games and they're top of the division.
Hoorah! Let's go.
Right. So
Yeah.
would you? So
I'm saying I
Is
would
he
rather
better-
take a healthy Jameis versus a healthy.
is he better than Baker Mayfield?
versus Derek Carr?
Yeah.
To me, it's very close. Very close.
Okay. So Baker Mayfield isn't even close to a conversation of being benched or that he's
Yeah, because who do
bad.
you have on the depth chart? Kyle Trask? Who you going to put out there?
It's almost it's like comparable.
So you're saying you would take Kyle Trask over Jameis Winston? What?
No, I don't think there's
you
much
high?
of a difference. No, but I don't think that there's a whole lot of difference. We don't know what we can get out of Kyle Trask. We know what we're going to get out of Jameis
Yeah, which is a chance to stretch the field.
and throw the ball to the opposite team
Yeah, at least someone's going to catch it.
and make terrible decisions and try to throw it after you've crossed the line of scrimmage 5 yards. Like Jameis mentally, there's something that is not clicking mentally for Jameis Winston. So I would definitely take Kyle Trask. Now that I've even said that out loud, I'd take a shot with Kyle Trask before I start Jameis Winston.
Wow.
But my whole point in the first place about Baker Mayfield is there's no conversation. It's not even close that we're going to, that he's not good or anything like that.
Look, I was a fan of Derek Carr coming in when Andy Dalton was the starter because I thought this was going to be an upgrade.
No, you weren't.
Yes,
You said from the get-go that you hated that they brought in Derek Carr.
because I think they should have started Jameis from the beginning of the year. What I'm saying is both, meaning Carr and Jameis are an upgrade from Dalton. I still believe that. But I'm saying I will take a healthy Jameis versus an injured Carr. That to me is
Well, yeah,
a no-brainer.
sure, but when he's healthy, you're saying that he's bad to watch.
He is. That's how I feel.
All right, yeah,
It's how I feel.
yeah.
You're gonna have to live with it.
You are obligated to your opinion on the statistical goodness of Derek Carr.
He has looked better
Yeah.
versus the beginning of the season. I'll give him that. And the fact that they are first in the division, very weak division, but they're up there. So like this to me, as much as this is a must win for the Falcons, the Saints need this one too. So
I think the Falcons need it more than the Saints. I mean, just for like record-wise and season. By the way, Desmond Ridder back in the driver's seat for the rest of the year. That was announced.
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go down with the ship,
What do they do? Like, man, what do you do if you're the Falcons?
you fire Arthur Smith.
Yeah, I think you start there. Well,
I mean,
I think you start there, but I think it's time to like scrape some and rebuild. Like, get a new quarterback in this draft. Like, get a new head coach. Speaking of head coaches, yeah, there's a lot of head coach vacancies, or there should be head coaching vacancies. We'll talk about that another week or something like
Yeah.
that because there's a lot to unpack there. Maybe towards the end of the season, we'll talk about that because, man, just real quick, Brandon Staley, gotta go.
Yep.
Have to go.
Send him.
Do you see how he got chippy with the media?
No, I missed it.
Oh man. I'm calling the play. I'm calling the defense. Don't ask me that again. Like crazy. And it's like, well, it's not working, pal. So you're gonna need better answers than that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, different conversation for a different day. Let's talk about this final game that's on the slate for this upcoming week. Jags at Houston, 48.5 over under. Jags favored by a point. This should be an interesting game. And Blake, why don't you tell us about how you feel with Stroudalicious getting in there and getting it done versus a hot Trevor Lawrence after this past week?
Stroudalicious.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's just like you come up with these.
It's a great name.
Oh yeah, you come up with these names and you roll with them.
Oh, listen, it's yeah.
You don't let them go.
Nope. Stroudalicious. You're welcome.
Like where just out of nowhere, like Stroudalicious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come up with a better one.
How about just his name? Like
Listen, he's Stradalicious because he is out there and he is balling out. I know he had a couple of bad picks, but
he's a rookie.
He's looked fantastic.
I mean, he has, despite his mediocre game this last week, he's got to be started at least in the conversation of MVP. Like, it's crazy to think about that as a rookie, but he's got to be at least talked about because he's playing just as good as any of these other quarterbacks. He really is. Look, I mean, Mahomes didn't have a good game last night. He was like 177 yards, a bad pick in the red zone. Only one touchdown I think he threw.
Yeah, but he's got guys that can't catch, man. CJ's at least working with...
I get it. But I'm just saying, statistically speaking, he's right up there. I mean, he's second in the league in passing yards, I believe.
Yeah, he's killing it.
He's having a great year. And his touchdown to interception ratio, I think, is the best in the league. It's just crazy. So, he's having a great year. And Houston's found something, not just in him, but were they really just one rookie quarterback away from being competitive like this? Like, was it a full-on tank last year? Like, what in the world? And I think we mentioned it last week. They've got to be like feeling like they hit the lottery. Because the Panthers were strongly considering taking C.J. Stroud.
They're regretting it now. Oh, boy.
Sure. I mean, yeah. That's a whole nother discussion. But, look, the Jags, Trevor Lawrence finally looked really, really good. He looked like we thought or we think that he should look pretty much every week. 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. Very efficient. But the Jags don't play very well against good teams. And I think that we can officially say now that Houston Texans are a good football team.
I would agree with that. Yep.
Now, let's see how they do against good teams because they've been okay against good teams. They've had some up and downs, but they already beat the Jags once. I think at home, they do it again.
Yeah.
I think they're going to beat the Jags this week.
This whole Stroud-Tank Dell connection, by the way, oh, brother.
Yeah. And early on it was Nico Collins, but now it's just all Tank Dell. I mean, deep balls, intermediate routes, just get him the ball.
Doesn't matter.
He's getting him the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting double-digit targets, I think, in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Crazy.
I mean, and when you talk about the efficiency, there's no guy that's been more efficient than CJ.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been killing it. So, should be fun to watch. Well, let's go into our little last segment here, our pie bet. And this past week, sir, you demolished my soul. And
yeah, boy.
Yeah.
We were tied going in after 2 weeks of doing it.
Yes, you went 2-1 this past week, and I went 0-3.
Stretched it out.
So those of you that faded me, you did great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So let's look at Blake. Who do you have for your 3 games?
So for my outright win, the underdog that is an outright win, I have the Texans beating the Jags, like I just said. That's the underdog to win. I have the Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to cover 9.5 against the Chiefs.
That's a spicy one. I like it, though.
My thought process real quick was just what games have the most points. It's just going to give me the best chance. Not that the Raiders are going to – I mean, the Chiefs might, for all we know, come out pretty ticked off.
I think they are.
And take it out on the Raiders. But the Raiders somehow have found themselves at 5-6. Like, they're early on, we thought they were one of the worst teams in the league. And with Garoppolo, they were.
Yeah.
But this O'Connell kid is starting to come on, and
yeah.
he's getting his playmaker the ball. Get Devontae Adams the ball. And look what happens.
Fun to watch.
Yes. Okay. Aiden O'Connell's fun to watch.
More fun than Derek Carr. Anyway, go on with your third one.
Yeah, and then I have the 4 wins in a row Denver Broncos -2.5 against the Cleveland Browns. They're going to cover and win.
That's spicy.
What do you got?
Oh, man. I got the Saints against the Falcons. Slam dunk. Booyah. I've got Seattle against the Niners. +6.5 to cover. Hopefully we get Geno still being able to start, but Drew Lock serviceable, so we'll see.
Yes.
I think either way, I think they have a chance. And then I'm taking Tampa Bay to get the outright win against Indy.
I like
at
it.
Plus 2.5.
I like that.
So it should be a super, super fun week. Just to recap, by the way, our picks, a couple of the picks that were on Patreon last week, Jags minus 6.5, and teaser, we took the Jags minus 0.5 point, and Buffalo minus 1.5. We cashed that one too.
Check.
Check, and check. Yeah, take it to the bank. So don't forget, follow us on the socials. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube. We got it all out there. Grunt Squad, just search us out there. And please like, share. And by the way, guys, if there's something you want to hear, you want us to talk about,
let us
please
know.
Tell us.
Comment on one of them.
Subscribe.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely subscribe, comment, let us know. Tell us what you think about some of the topics that we're talking about. We want to know what you think.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you so much for listening in. And until next week, guys, have a great and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Catch you on the flip side.